Russian President Vladimir Putin called yesterday's Crimea Bridge attack an act of terrorism. He said his country's defense ministry was planning a response. He further added that the attack was senseless because the Russian army had not used the bridge in months. Russia claims that Ukraine was responsible for the attack on the bridge. Ukraine, however, has not taken responsibility. Meanwhile, road services resumed on the Crimean Bridge earlier today. The bridge was closed down after it was struck on Monday. Now, one lane has been opened for the movement of traffic. Russian media reported that despite one lane being operational, traffic jams were at least 5 kilometers long. 4 Russian naval ships will hold joint drills with their Chinese counterparts in the Sea of Japan. The exercise has been codenamed Northern Interaction 2023. Russia's 4-ship flotilla will have 2 submarines and 2 corvettes. China will deploy 5 surface ships for the exercise. The UN Security Council urged Russia to resume the Black Sea grain deal. On Monday, Russia backed out of the grain deal. The US has blamed Moscow for weaponizing food. Foreign ministers from Poland, Germany and Ukraine condemned Russia's termination of the grain deal. Moscow says it will resume the deal if its demands are met. The UN's World Food Programme is slashing food aid for the Caribbean nation of Haiti. This is due to a shortage of funds. At least 100,000 Haitian people will be impacted. The UN body said that the slash in aid comes when a record 5 million Haiti residents are unable to fulfill their food needs. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol said his country will form a nuclear grouping with the US. Yoon said this would be done to build a strong deterrence against North Korea. The group will be called the Nuclear Consultative Group, or NCG. Protesters in Israel launched a day of disruption against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's planned judicial overhaul. Demonstrators took to the streets and blocked highways. Some even chained themselves to the entrance of the Israeli Defense Ministry's compound. Police officials detained at least 17 protesters as they chanted democracy. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan met Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in the city of Jeddah on Monday. The two leaders discussed trade and investment possibilities in Turkey. Erdogan's visit to Saudi Arabia comes just 2 months after his re-election in May. With this trip, he hopes to secure foreign investment as Turkey is witnessing chronic inflation and a weakening currency. Election campaigns have resumed in the Central American nation of Guatemala. Presidential candidates Bernardo Arevalo and Sandra Torres both held rallies. Guatemala's presidential elections were scrutinized by voters after the first round. They claimed that the parties took part in voter fraud and illegal practices. Earlier this month, Guatemala's Supreme Court called for fresh runoff elections. Guatemalans will now vote in the runoff on the 20th of August. A barge which will house asylum seekers has reached the Portland dock in the southern UK. The vessel will be used to house at least 500 male asylum seekers. The UK government says that due to high costs involved in housing migrants in hotels, it will accommodate them on this barge. This is part of the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's crackdown on refugees. Trial data has shown that an experimental drug by pharma company Eli Lilly slowed the progression of Alzheimer's by 60%. This is specific to patients in the early stages of the disease. The drug slows cognitive decline by nearly twice the rate reported in May. Findings show that early detection and diagnosis can change the trajectory of Alzheimer's. Moving to climate news, US climate envoy John Kerry is visiting China this week. The 3-day trip aims to revive climate cooperation between the US and China, the world's top greenhouse gas emitters. Kerry's arrival in China coincides with waves of extreme weather across the planet. This includes heat waves in Europe and wildfires in Canada and the US. Temperatures in the US city of Phoenix have crossed 45 degrees Celsius. The prolonged bout of extreme heat is testing people and worrying officials. The international charitable organization Salvation Army has opened 11 cooling centers. It has also sent out a mobile unit to deliver relief to homeless people. Hazy skies blanketed cities across the United States on Monday. This comes as smoke continues to flow south from wildfires in the US and several Canadian provinces. The National Weather Services warned of poor air quality for both Monday and early Tuesday in some parts of the country. One of the places suffering greatly from the smoke are the hills of Riverside County in Southern California in the US. The local fire department is battling at least 4 wildfires in the region. As of Monday morning, over 3,000 hectares of land have already been burnt. Meanwhile, authorities in Canada's British Columbia have requested help from the country's armed forces. They've also asked for an additional 1,000 international firefighters. Blazes have burned 1.2 million hectares of forest in the province so far this year. This is far above the 10-year average of 76,000 hectares. A forest fire also spread in the villages of southern Switzerland. Swiss police have ordered the evacuation of several mountain villages in the region. About 200 firefighters, army personnel, police officers and other partners are working to douse the flames. Some helicopters have also been deployed to bring the fire under control. Wildfires also raged through the coastal towns near Athens in Greece. The blaze broke out southeast of the Greek capital. This has forced residents to flee their homes. Police have helped evacuate more than 100 citizens in the area. Dozens of horses were also evacuated in trucks as the flames reached stables in nearby localities. Typhoon Talim has become the first typhoon to make landfall in China this year. It has brought heavy rains and strong winds to China's Zhejiang city and surrounding areas. The typhoon has prompted authorities to issue flood warnings and cancel flights and trains. Local residents have also been ordered to stay at home. China's meteorological department renewed its orange alert, which is the second highest alert level. Recovery work continues in South Korea after heavy rain hammered the country. More than 40 people have lost their lives in less than a week. Meanwhile, President Yoon Suk-yeol has called for an overhaul of the country's disaster response system. He has urged officials to mobilize all available resources for restoration work. In business news, Instagram CEO Adam Mosseri has said that rate limits may soon be implemented in Threads. Mosseri took to the new microblogging platform to announce the potential move. He said that the rate limits are aimed at combating spam bots. However, he has advised legitimate Threads users who have reached the limit to contact the company. This is to help them get back to using the application without issues. Twitter rival Bluesky has come under fire as users threaten to leave the platform. Many users are frustrated that the company hasn't apologized for allowing racial slurs to slip through its moderation tools. This is even though they violate its community guidelines. Bluesky is also facing flack for removing numerous racist and transphobic slurs from its list of flagged words in an update last week. India's second-largest software services provider, Infosys, has signed a 5-year artificial intelligence deal. Under the deal, one of its existing clients will provide the company with AI and automation services. Infosys has a target to spend about $2 billion on the project. US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said that she does not expect America to enter a recession. She said this during a media interview. Yellen added that the United States is on a good path to reducing inflation. Meanwhile, the data for the first quarter indicates that the US annual GDP will increase at 2%. This is an upward revision from the 1.3% pace reported earlier. Meanwhile, financial firm Goldman Sachs is also cutting the probability of a US recession in the next 12 months. The company has lowered its recession forecast to 20% from an earlier 25%. A chief economist from the firm said that the main reason for the cuts is recent economic data. He added, the numbers have reinforced confidence that the US central bank's actions will not lead to a recession. World Bank chief Ajay Banga has said that the world economy is in a difficult place. However, he added that it's not destined to be there. He made these remarks on the sidelines of a G20 meeting in the Indian state of Gujarat. Last month, the World Bank cut its 2024 global economic growth forecast from 2.7% to 2.4%. Crisis-hit Chinese property giant Evergrande has revealed that it's lost a combined $81 billion in 2021 and 2022. The firm reported this in its long overdue earnings report to investors on Monday. Evergrande has been struggling with an estimated $300 billion of debt. In recent years, the developer has been rocked by the property market crisis in China. US chip company executives have met with top officials from the Biden administration. This included executives from companies like Intel, Nvidia, and Qualcomm. They discussed the American policy on China with regards to the recent trade controls. The group has urged for a halt to more curbs under consideration. Brian Armstrong, the CEO of cryptocurrency firm Coinbase, will meet US lawmakers on Wednesday. In the meeting, Armstrong plans to discuss the future of digital asset legislation. He also plans to touch upon issues such as tax, national security, privacy, and climate. The meeting comes as Coinbase faces a lawsuit in the US for failing to register its operations with the country's markets regulator. Telecom company AT&T's shares fell nearly 7% on Monday. The share prices hit their lowest level in 30 years. This was after analysts downgraded the stock following a news report. According to reports, AT&T left toxic lead cables buried across the US for years. A huge number of them possibly contaminated nearby soil and drinking water sources. Moving to sports, in cricket, England pacer James Anderson has been recalled for the fourth Ashes Test. The 40-year-old had been rested for the third Test match. Anderson will replace all-rounder Ollie Robinson. The fourth Test begins on Wednesday. It will be played at the Old Trafford Cricket Ground. Australia lead the Ashes series 2-1. The West Indies have called up uncapped Kevin Sinclair for the second Test match against India. 23-year-old Sinclair is an off-spin bowler. He will replace all-rounder Raymond Reifer. The West Indies will play India in the second Test match on Thursday. India lead the two-match series 1-0. Indian batter KL Rahul has resumed batting practice at the nets. He's looking to make a comeback to the Indian squad before this year's Cricket Asia Cup. Rahul had suffered a thigh injury during this year's IPL tournament. The Asia Cup begins on the 31st of August and will be co-hosted by Pakistan and Sri Lanka. In football, Mexico beat Panama 1-0 to clinch the Concacaf Gold Cup 2023. The final was played at the Sophie Stadium in the US city of Los Angeles. The match remained scoreless in the first half. In the second half, Mexico's Santiago Giménez scored in the 88th minute to seal the win. With the win, Mexico lifted the Concacaf Gold Cup for a record 9th time. Eden Park Stadium in New Zealand's capital Auckland will host the opening match of this year's FIFA Women's World Cup. Co-host New Zealand will take on Norway in the opener on Thursday. A total of 9 matches will be played at the Eden Park Stadium. Meanwhile, co-hosts Australia will also play their opener on Thursday. They will play against Ireland at Sydney's Stadium Australia. La Liga club FC Barcelona unveiled their new midfielder Ilkay Gundogan. He will also take charge as the mentor for Barca's youth squad. The 32-year-old joined Barcelona on a free transfer from the English club Manchester City. Gundogan was the captain when Man City clinched their first ever treble last season. In tennis, Novak Djokovic has been fined $8,000 for smashing his racket during the Wimbledon final. The incident happened during the fifth set of the match. After losing a serve to his opponent Carlos Alcaraz, Djokovic smashed his racket on the net. The fine will be deducted from his runner-up cash prize of $1.5 million. Serbia's Djokovic lost the final to Spain's Alcaraz. Indian tennis veteran Rohan Bopanna climbed to the world number 7 spot in the men's doubles rankings. This was after Bopanna and his Australian partner Matthew Ebden reached the semi-final at Wimbledon 2023. The 43-year-old Indian was ranked 19th at the start of this season. World number 7 is now Bopanna's best rank since October 2013. In golf, Rory McIlroy won the Scottish Open in a thriller. The tournament was played at Scotland's iconic Renaissance Club. After missing an 8-foot putt on hole 16, the Irishman shot 2 birdies on the next 2 holes to lift the trophy. This was McIlroy's 24th title and his first win in Scotland. Australia's state of Victoria announced it will not host the 2026 Commonwealth Games. The state's premier, Daniel Andrews, said that the cost to host the Games were going over budget. He estimated the cost to host the Games to be at almost $5 billion. However, the state of Victoria had budgeted only $1.7 billion. Victoria's withdrawal puts the Games in jeopardy. This is because no other country apart from Australia bid to host the Games in 2026. Now for some entertainment news. Major film and television studios reportedly offered Hollywood writers over $1 billion in compensation before they called another strike last week. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers has said that the striking unions are mischaracterizing the negotiations. The group is negotiating with writers on behalf of Netflix, Disney, Warner Brothers, and other studios. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 actor Simon Pegg has supported the use of artificial intelligence in Hollywood. He said that the AI could prevent mediocrity in Hollywood. He added that the threats posed by advancing AI could cause writers and directors to up their game. Pegg said he also believes that AI lacks the imagination and emotions necessary for creating high-quality cinema. Actor Mark Ruffalo voiced his support for the Hollywood writers' strike. He urged actors and writers to cut out Hollywood's quote-unquote fat cats by making independent films and shows. Some of the biggest actors, including George Clooney, Susan Sarandon, and Jason Sudeikis, have supported the strike. Actor Nicolas Cage will not be attending the Fantasia Film Festival following the strike called by Hollywood Actors Union, SAG-AFTRA. The festival will be held in Canada's Montreal on July 22nd. Cage was scheduled to receive Fantasia's Cheval Noir Career Achievement Award. Actor Cillian Murphy recently opened up about his process to prepare for the movie Oppenheimer. Murphy said that he read the Hindu holy text, the Bhagavad Gita, to prepare for the role. Murphy plays the role of J. Robert Oppenheimer, who is regarded as the father of the atom bomb. Oppenheimer was also a student of Sanskrit. He famously said that he thought of a quote from the Gita in the immediate aftermath of testing the world's first atomic bomb in 1945. Singer Ariana Grande and her husband Dalton Gomez have reportedly parted ways 2 years after their marriage. The two started having issues before Grande began filming for the movie Wicked. Grande was photographed at the Wimbledon men's singles final without her wedding ring. Reports say that the two decided to end their relationship in January and are heading for a divorce. Gomez and Grande started dating in 2020. They got married in May 2021 in a private ceremony. Actors Sofia Vergara and Joe Manganiello have also decided to end their 7-year-long marriage. Reports say that the duo opened up about the divorce, calling it a difficult decision. Vergara-Manganiello got married in Florida's Palm Beach in November 2015. Vergara is a Colombian-American actor famous for playing the role of Gloria Delgado Pritchett in the hit sitcom Modern Family. Actor Lindsay Lohan has given birth to her first child, a boy. She welcomed her son Luai with her husband Beda Shammas in Dubai. Lohan announced her pregnancy in March this year. She got married to Shammas last year. Lohan is famous for her roles in movies including Mean Girls, The Parent Trap and Freaky Friday. Veteran actor Helen Mirren's movie Golda is set to hit theatres in India on September 1st. The movie is based on the life of Israel's fourth and only woman Prime Minister, Golda Meir. She was also known as the Iron Lady of Israel. The movie focuses on controversial decisions that Meir took during her time in office. Madame Tussauds is set to unveil singer Harry Styles' 7 wax statues. The statues will be unveiled in 7 different cities including London, Berlin, New York, Amsterdam, Singapore and Sydney. The singer made his Madame Tussauds debut nearly a decade ago with his former bandmates from One Direction, Niall Horan, Liam Payne, Louis Tomlinson and Zayn Malik.